What's going on, guys? In today's video I'm going to take you through a few basic techniques that you'll come across in a match situation, give you some tips and tricks on what you can do to improve them. In this session we're going to focus on delivering and receiving a throw-in, as well as going through some extra tips on how to improve your overall ball control. Now let's get started. So, in recent years we've seen the progression of long throw and how it's become a really effective dead ball situation. A long throw can be just as effective as a set piece. If you watch a game in any of the football leagues, you'll realise it's not about having a muscular stature that gets distance on a throw, it's all about momentum. So let's take a look. Go on then. Ooh, no. No! First thing we want to think about is our run-up when we're taking the throw in. So, if you've got room, you probably do want to take about 4 or 5 steps back, because that will give us the greatest momentum when we're going forward. If you don't have the access to do that, you can do it from just as close, but you will really need to try and create that momentum through a flick. Once I've taken my 4 or 5 steps back from the touchline, I want to start with the ball probably just out in front of me. After around 2 or 3 steps, that's when we want to lift the ball behind the head, getting as far back as we can and starting to arch the back. Then, when we're coming up just towards the touchline, so the final step, we want to create a little bit of a flicking motion to arch the back, and then as we release it, we flick forwards and release the ball at the right point to get the trajectory right, so not too high, not too low. We want to get it right in the middle to create the most distance. So when we're taking a throw in, there's many things that we need to think about, such as how hard we're going to throw it, who we're going to throw it to, the direction that we're throwing it in. But initially, the first thing we need to think about is planting our foot. The amount of times that you see foul throws in games is ridiculous. So we really need to make sure that doesn't happen. So when we're running up to the ball, we want to keep our eye on the line as much as we can until probably just before our last step. So in this instance, we're stepping here, I'm still looking at the ground just before my last step. That's when I'm going to look up and hopefully launch the ball into the box. And something that I like to do is add a little skip in there. So on my last step, rather than just run up straight and throw the ball, we're adding a little skip. And hopefully it looks a little bit like this. We're not adding that skip for decoration. That final little skip adds a real last bit of momentum before we throw the ball. So our run up starts the momentum, and as we add that flick, starts the power generation from the feet, into the legs, through the back, into the shoulders, and finally into that slingshot motion through the arms. Talked about the delivery, but what do you do on the receiving end? In most cases, the most important thing to do when you're receiving the ball is get it under control so you can start to assess your options. When that ball comes into you, you might need to take it anywhere. You might need to go forwards, you might receive it when you're backing off, but 9 times out of 10 you want to get the ball on the deck as quickly as possible. So here's some tips to improve your ball control when you're receiving it from a throw-in. Let's start with the chest. When we're receiving the ball in this sort of area, we want to try and absorb the pace from the ball, as well as getting it towards the floor as quickly as we can and taking it in the direction that we want to travel. So when we're receiving it, we want to absorb the power and take it in the direction that we want to go. So we're angling our hips and we're angling our shoulders as the ball arrives to take it in that direction. So yes, Jack? So there, we're taking it in that direction, absorbing the power, shaping our body to go off in that direction. Ideally, you receive it on your feet from a throw, but that's not always possible. Similarly to on your chest, when you receive it on your thigh, you also want to absorb the power, getting the ball on the deck as quickly as you can. The longer it's in the air, the more chance you've got of a defender coming in and stealing that ball off you. To absorb that power, what we want to do when we're controlling it, so say we're controlling it with our left leg, when we do receive it, we want to bring the leg back, almost cushioning that ball like it's a delicate vase. So, like this. So we're cushioning the ball, we're bringing the leg back, that will make the ball stop in its tracks, and then we can take it in the direction we want to go or find a pass. Like we said, ideally from a throw-in you want to receive the ball to your feet. So if we're looking to take a touch, same thing applies, we're dragging the foot backwards to take the momentum out of the ball, using the instep of our foot, this big part. If we want to go straight back into the thrower first time, again, ball comes in, we're punching it back, ideally along the floor into the thrower, angle again, and hopefully you can receive the ball again. The last place I want to receive the ball from a throw-in is on my head. But if you do find yourself in that situation, we've got one of 2 ways that you can go about it. Firstly, you want to go straight back into the thrower. So if we receive the ball from the head, we want to go back into the thrower, aiming the ball towards their feet to give them the best chance of keeping the ball and going off in a different direction. On the other hand, if we haven't got time to go back to the thrower, we need to cushion the ball. So the same thing applies again. We want to try and take the momentum out of the ball like this. So that comes from bending the hips, bending the back and killing the ball and then leaving it in front of you so you can take it in a direction that you want to travel or find a pass to a teammate. Now you may have already seen our tutorial on heading the ball, and if you haven't, make sure you go and check it out. But if you are trying to turn a long throw into the box into a scoring opportunity, then here are a couple of things that you need to remember. So if you do find yourself in the final third and your teammate's looking to launch one in the box, you need to make sure that the rest of your team is set up to give yourselves the best opportunity of scoring. The most important man is the one that's standing on the edge of the 6-yard box. This is the target man that's receiving it from the throw-in. So they're receiving it, and this is the person that's unselfishly looking to flick it on rather than score. Once we've flicked it on, that's when you've hopefully got your big men looking to head it in and really test the keeper. When you are acting as this danger man, first thing you need to think about is trying to lose your defender. So a small movement just like that, coming out to the 6-yard box to receive the ball. We're then flicking it on, using our neck muscles to add a little bit of distance and direction, flicking it on to one of your teammates to go and attack the ball. So as you can see, by flicking it on like that, it gives your attackers a real opportunity to go and score a goal. When you are receiving the ball from a throw-in and you're nodding it on into an attacking area, you really need to generate the power yourself, because the ball's not going to come in with the same intensity as it would if it was from a cross. So this is using your neck muscles and making sure that you're flicking the ball into an attacking area. A good player to watch is Oliver Giroud. He's a real master of flicking the ball into those attacking areas and creating goal-scoring opportunities. For even more tips and tricks, go ahead and watch our heading tutorial over on our YouTube channel. Well, I hope that's helped. Remember, make sure you practice all these techniques and find out what works best for you. Check out the heading tutorial here, and for other tutorials and techniques, check these out. Until next time, I've been Jamie.